So what's going on, man? How you been?
Doing good, sir. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm really excited you're able to be a part of this interview today. You know, I want to put something together amazing for entrepreneurs out there. I know that you've been an entrepreneur for some time, and you're really just doing some amazing things. So maybe you could start off by just answering a couple questions. Does that work?
Yeah, 100%.
So one thing that I always am intrigued by is someone's story, right? So think about, you know, when you first decided to become an entrepreneur, what made you want to become an entrepreneur, and why?
Okay, so I'll take you back about like 4 years ago. I was kind of on the corporate ladder climb. I was in management. I started out as a supervisor at a hospital not too far from here, actually, at Stanford. And it was good. I liked it. You know, I got in there to change things. Like I wanted to like make an impact. I had a choice between either being like an OR tech or like a supervisor, and I had to like wait for the supervisor job to come through. So I'm like, okay, the real thing that made me make the decision was which one am I gonna have more impact on. And I figured if I'm a supervisor, I can make a direct impact on patient care from one to many, not just like OR tech, like one-to-one, right? So I chose that, and the path was great, and I was really trying to climb the corporate ladder. But 4 years ago, when my second daughter was born, they were giving me a lot of tough time on the amount of time I was taking off.
Got it.
I had tons of sick time because I never called out.
Yeah.
And I was using it, and they had an issue with that. Now, like fast forward 3 weeks later, after my daughter was born, and my mentor in the healthcare industry was fired for like really no reason. You know, it was a political move.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at that point, I knew, okay, the higher you go up in the corporate ladder, the more you're sticking your neck out, and the easier it is for it to get chopped off. You know, and in reality, you go up higher, you have more responsibility, and you have less rights.
True.
And I'm like, this is not the way for me. So at that moment, I really started to look for other things. Like I knew that there was people that were winning in life, and it wasn't through like a corporate 9-to-5. Like they were doing, you know, anything from making chairs to selling flat, like whatever it is, they were doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what like made me make the decision to become an entrepreneur and really start to learn what's out there outside of just this whole like corporate ladder climb, you know?
Got it. Yeah, no, I can, and I can totally relate, you know, to the, you know, regular corporate or government job, and, you know, working 9-to-5. And what I heard you say was you really saw an example of somebody else.
Right.
And you said, that's not what I want.
Right, yeah.
So could you just share, what was the first business what type of business you really jumped into your first time as an
Honestly, the first thing that came to me was a direct selling company.
Okay.
So I had seen direct sales when I was 18. I went to this event. I don't even really remember who approached me. I think it was like a complete stranger. But the words that they were using and the terms that got me interested was like freedom. You know, you get to own like your own time, and you can create as much money as you want.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, that's, you know, I like that kind of thought, that lifestyle. Like, yeah, let me check it out. So I loved the industry when they showed the industry, and then they showed the product, and I was like, okay, like I don't want to do that, right? I love the industry, I love the idea, I love the concept. And that was when I was 18.
Wow.
So direct selling didn't come back to me for like, I don't know, 11 years or something, maybe like 9 years.
Wow.
9 years, right?
Okay.
And when it did that time, I was already had seen what I'd seen in corporate America, and I made the decision to do something, and it fell into my lap. Literally 2 months after I made the decision to like, I want to do something.
Wow.
I didn't go out there and like look up stuff. It literally fell into my lap, and I just ran with it. So I would say like direct sales is one of the best industries you can get into as far as, you know, return on investment and time and things like that. But the things that you learn and you grow, coming from an employee mindset to, and even at being a supervisor, I was still an employee. I still had that, what's my task, what do I gotta do, go out there and do it, here's what I did, you know, here's my report. And I had to go back task. So I had that employee mindset.
Wow.
And to break from that to have the entrepreneur mindset, direct selling, I think, is the best industry to do that in. So
I couldn't agree more.
That was the first thing
I
for me.
couldn't agree more. So I guess, you know, that actually brings me to my next question, because it sounds like, you know, timing, you know, you were in different seasons of your life. So if you could, knowing what you know now, right? This is the kind of the big loaded question, right? So knowing what you know now, if you could go back and tell your old self a piece of advice, what would you say?
Honestly, I would say take more risks faster and bigger. I think one of the things that holds not just me back, but most people, is our mindset and the thoughts that we have internally. You know, the stories that we tell ourselves about, like, I want to go try this, but what if XYZ happens? And you're living out these stories that you tell yourself in your head, and none of them have happened. But yet they resonate with you so much, you develop them. They're like your thought child. Like everybody like cares about like their thoughts and what they say and how they sound and how they feel and how they look and all that kind of stuff. We associate ourselves with that so on such a deep level that even though the story hasn't even happened and it's not even true, we believe it so much so, and it really like holds us back from what we can become. You know, I heard like earlier about human potential. Like what you do as an entrepreneur, it doesn't necessarily have to equate into like money and fame and nothing like that, but like you taking your human potential to the max, and really becoming who you want to become with the mindset. So, you know, going through the like rejections or having those kinds of fears and it's like just running right through them, that develops a habit of that. And I think that is the main difference between someone that's like a Gary Vee versus the like, who are you? You know, like they do the things that are uncomfortable, they do the things that they fear, and they do it like big, fast, strong, like right now. They don't wait.
Wow.
So that's what I would definitely tell myself back then.
Okay.
You're wasting time, you know?
Okay. I'm gonna throw this question in there just because I know there's a lot of young entrepreneurs out there. I meet a lot of millennials just rocking direct sales businesses. You know, doing affiliate marketing. They're doing social media. I mean, like it's flooded, right? So as a young entrepreneur, to take a big risk, sometimes people think that there's a lot of money that is needed to take a risk. So everyone identifies risk at different levels, right? So do you think that, so advice to a new entrepreneur coming out, you know, what do you think as far as risk goes, as far as what do you think their biggest barrier is, and what would you tell them?
Honestly, it kind of goes back to the same thing I was just saying. Like the biggest barrier of entry for a young entrepreneur, a young millennial, is really like getting over their mindset, like getting their mindset right. I mean, because you can either have a lot of money and no time, and you use the money resource, right, to buy some of your time back. Or let's say you have tons of time and no money, that means you got to put in a lot of work on the time end to get that money up. So the barriers of entry, when you're really sold out and you really know what you want to do, like you're gonna find a way, you know, no matter what. Like this interview, like we made it happen no matter what before you got back on the plane to fly to Jersey, right? So it's having that kind of that thought process and that actual like, this is who I am, this is who I'm being, this is what I do, you know, like really finding that out and really like diving into it and making sure that if that's in line, everything else is easy, you know? So I think to answer the question, the biggest risk or the biggest investment or the biggest thing for them is like making sure they have the right circle. Because young millennials, I mean, think about it, a young entrepreneur, they're gonna have young friends, people that aren't like, they don't know what they want to do, they just want to party or whatever. So putting yourself around the right people, someone like yourself, people that you're around, association is key. So I think if they put that in with the whole mindset thing and make sure they put themselves around people that, you know, care themselves well and know what they want to do in life, that's gonna go way farther than like anything else out there.
So last question. So I mean, that's amazing. So absolutely 100%. So last question that I had, you know, and I agree with you. And I actually think that not even just millennials, but anybody's, because I think about someone in their 40s and 50s who are deciding to take on entrepreneurism. They're so programmed. It's even harder for them to get out of their own way, their own mindset change, and in addition, not listen to their support system that they've grown up with. So, you know, I think entrepreneurs are really on the rise in the millenniums, and then, you know, people that are in, you know, X generation are trying it out or really diving into it. They have a big challenge as well. So, traditional marketing, right? So, old school versus new school, digital marketing. What do you think the pros and cons are? What's your advice there? So I know that, let me say this too, so I know that part of the reason why I really wanted to talk to you today was you are a social media beast, like hands down, you're crushing the social media game. You know, your Instagram handle is blowing up, and you've been able to find just the right formula to, you know, slingshot your your business into high speed momentum utilizing social media. So I know you've been able to do that. So if you give some pointers there as well.
So with traditional and kind of like new school marketing or digital marketing, I think the pros and cons, a lot of it's the same. The pros on the digital side is it just happens a lot faster.
Yeah.
When you look at like traditional marketing, you're getting somebody to respond to an ad that maybe you put in a newspaper or something like that, and then they come in, they check out what you have, and so all the things that happen offline are the same things that happen online.
Okay.
And when you master like it's all human interaction, right? Like when you master like the actual processes, all it really comes down to is just human interaction.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like the same thing, but the pros on digital marketing is this happens a lot faster, and there's no limit. Like you can do it. You can be here in San Jose and have like tons of business in Canada or tons of business in Colombia through digital marketing because it's digital. There's no limit to it. So that's the pros. I think the cons would be the fact that sometimes they lose the human interaction. Like they forget they're dealing with humans.
Yeah.
Like I'm here with you. I see you're human. Like we're talking.
Yeah.
Like there's a human interaction there. You're not a number to me.
Correct.
But when you're on the digital landscape, everything is numbers. Visitors, numbers. Conversions, numbers.
Wow.
Numbers. Money, numbers. It's all numbers. So you forget they're humans there. So
got it.
I think you have to make sure that you have that in line. You have to make sure you're dealing with humans. Like don't forget that. And if you have that in your whole process, you're gonna have to become a lot successful. And that kind of leads to the social media thing. Like if I could give a tip about like social media and using social media to grow any kind of business, it's to make sure you treat them like a human. Don't treat them like a follower. If you've got like 20,000 followers, they're not just one of the 20,000, right? This is Arthur Carr. This is someone that is from New Jersey. He has dreams, he has ambitions. I see that in him, and this is just how we connect.
Absolutely.
So kind of keeping that like that human feel and that like be real, be authentic. Don't fall for the whole like grandeur, like this is how I gotta display myself, like living my best life. Like that's all cool and everything, but most people love the story when they know the story. Like they don't just want to see that you're like, okay, super successful. Well, how do you get there? Because that's where they're at.
It's true.
You know what I mean? Like they're there, they're trying to get to where maybe you are now, as successful as you are now, but they want to know that how'd you do that? And that's what they resonate with. That's what they relate to. So now they feel like, man, Arthur's my bro. Like, man, when he was talking about like having no lunch for like, I'm like that right now. I understand. So I get where he's going, what he's done. I respect him, and I can follow him to success.
Got it.
And that's really, I think, the thing that if you're going to be using social media, have that in your forefront of your mind. Like, what value you're giving people? Are you being authentic? Are you being real? Or is it just like a nice little picture here and there with no substance? Give people substance and really treat your social media like a business card. Treat your profile like a business card. Like if people go to your Instagram, that's what they see, man. They see your mindset. They see what you think about. They see how you are. They see you got daughters. Like they see you're a family man. That you're a believer. So they can relate with that because you're being true, authentic. This is who I am. And so you're like attract those kinds of people.
And I know you do you coach people too. You coach people in different industries on their social media marketing. You do that, correct?
Yeah.
You just say a little bit about that?
Pretty much. I mean, what I realize is like being in direct sales, like a lot of times lead generation is not something that they're good with, right? They have a list, they go through the list, and then that's it. So I help the people with lead generation in like, network marketing, direct sales, affiliate marketing, whatever they're trying to do. So I help them with that, help them create content. You can reach out to me on Instagram, Raymond_McMorris. That's how I really like sit down and find out what they want, how I can provide value through the social media realm and help them reach their goals.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me before I hop on a flight back to Philadelphia. And you're killing out here in San Jose, California. And awesome plug there, and I'll make sure that I get that information out to as many people as possible.
Right on, brother.
All right,
it was my pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.